It's a little bit later in the morning. Originally I was going to go fish with Chris, and he said there's a big thunderstorm coming in like an hour here, so he wanted to run to a little cove, try to get a video in catching some fish. I've just kind of been circling this big, I don't know if it's a sandbar per se, but it's a big mid-lake hump. There's the river channel dipping down into 70 feet out there to my left. And then there's some smaller creek channels kind of moving through here, and you can see I got some stumps marked. I have caught a few fish, and most of them seem to be in like that 18 to 22, 25 foot of water, so that's kind of where I'm trying to key in on. I'm a little deep right now. I'm going to go a little bit shallower, closer to this mid-lake hump, and see if we can find some stumps. I'll hopefully show you one that's loaded on side imaging. First, let's just kind of go through side imaging settings, and these are going to work for no matter what manufacturer you use: Garmin, Humminbird, Lowrance, Raymarine, Simrad. These general settings are they're going to get you pretty close. Now the menu options might be a little different, but overall it's going to get you close. Most of the stuff I kind of leave on default. Contrast, typically leave on default. If you're in the springtime and you get a lot of pollen, you might make this go down to like 40%, just to kind of declutter your screen a little bit. But for some reason we don't have a lot of pollen today. My brightness, which is my gain setting, a lot of times on other units that you might have, this is just set on auto low. Typically auto low kind of bounces at around 90 to 92, 93%, somewhere in there. Now your frequency. So depending on what type of unit you have, if you got an older unit, typically for side imaging, you're probably going to have this 455 kilohertz. Still a good way to find fish. I had an old Humminbird Helix. A lot of my earlier videos were filmed with that, using that setting, and you can find brush piles doing that, definitely. If you got a little bit newer unit, they probably either have the 800 kilohertz or the mega imaging, which is your 1000 plus kilohertz. Typically I always run it on this mega imaging setting or ultra HD setting for Garmin. And then when it comes to range for side view, it depends what you're trying to do. Right now I'm just trying to find pieces of cover, stumps, brush piles, maybe a stake bed. I don't know if they do that here in Tennessee or not, but all I'm looking for is a big piece of cover. I'm not really looking for that individual fish. If there's a big school of fish, they're still going to show up. So I'm usually running 80 to 100 feet left and right of the boat, trying to find that big piece of cover. Did I miss one here? Cool thing about Garmin touchscreens, they got this zoom function. Nope, that's just a big fish suspended off the bottom. I don't know what fish that is, but that's big. About these Garmin touchscreens, they kind of have a zoom function like your phone, like your cell phone would, where you just kind of pinch the screen to zoom in. You can also do a zoom function right here, and I have this set on magnify. There's a few different functions that you can have. You can just tap it to turn it off if you want. But again, with your range setting, 80 to 100 feet left and right. Once you find a brush pile or something that you really want to fish, or you want to take a closer look at, you can zoom back into 50 to 75 feet left and right, and that's typically pretty close enough to where you're going to see that definition between a single fish or a couple fish suspended above a stump or something like that, if you didn't want to drive over them with clear view or down imaging. Now there are some small trees and stumps right here, but they look pretty bare. I mean, even at 80 feet left and right, I can pretty much tell, you know, that tree right there, it's barely making out, nothing on it. There's a stump right here that's got a bright dot on it. That might be a fish right there. So maybe I can throw a waypoint on it, I guess. And usually I'm marking these as just a stump symbol. Depending on the unit you got a bunch of different symbols you can use. I just use the stump. As far as, I guess, more in-depth settings on side imaging or side view, scroll speed, I leave it at 5, that's the default setting. I did a separate video on this a long time ago with a Humminbird unit of adjusting scroll speed to up to 10, which is your fastest, and down to 1. The problem with scroll speed, it doesn't relate to miles per hour. Like, they don't convert. So this idea of setting your scroll speed at the same as your idling speed, the math doesn't really correlate. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it just doesn't correlate. So I would just start at 5, start in the default midsection, and if you want to crank it up, go for it, and see if your screen or your clarity gets a little bit better, or maybe you can read the screen better when it's moving that fast. I don't know. You got some noise reject options, TVG and interference. Typically either leave them off or turn them on low. Your appearance. Now the color scheme that I'm using right now is this orange crawfish pattern. I used Humminbird for many years, and this is very similar to the Humminbird side imaging screen. I think this is most similar to a lot of Lowrance screens, this ice blue. And then I think there's a, what is it? It's like a green one that I think some people use as well. This is black emerald. My eyes just pick up the orange crawfish pattern. My eyes just typically pick up the orange crawfish a little bit better. As you can see here, what I'm looking for is, there's a little piece of structure I was turning, so it's a little bit blurred, but you see how large that shadow is? And there's not any separation between the shadow and that object. That means that object is on the bottom of the river here, but it's also pretty tall. So that might be a pretty good stump to take a look at. I'm gonna mark that. And again, we'll zoom in on that one again. Basically, when side imaging, it's sending out the beam, and if something's in the way of that beam, on the back side of that, it's going to show as a shadow. It's not actually a shadow, it's just meaning that frequency that your transducer sending out can't reach the other side of it, so it shows up as a shadow on your screen. If you think of like a flashlight, just, I guess, clarity's sake, if you think of a flashlight, you're shining a flashlight, it hits the tree, that light can't penetrate through the other side of the tree, so it's going to show up as shadow on your screen. And the longer the shadow, the taller the object, if there isn't separation between the object and the shadow. That'll typically be a suspended fish. And if we run into, well, actually I think I showed a bigger suspended fish earlier, but if we run into some suspended fish that show up as the shadows, I'll make sure to point them out here. I'm typically finding a lot of these stumps kind of around the points. It seems to be where a lot of them are. Okay, here's a good stump. Oh, we got a couple good stumps, all right. I'll mark it. Typically the stumps I have been finding in this shallow water, you can definitely tell 1 or 2 fish on it, even at 80 feet left and right. And this, come on, zoom in. There's a stump, and you can see there's a really bright spot on the far right side of it. I think that's a fish. So I'm going to mark that. And I know some of you are probably looking at the waypoints. Go ahead, use them, I don't care. I only fish here once a year. Hopefully you can come here and catch a bunch of crappie. That might be a log that's laying down because the shadow isn't that big, and there might be a ton of river bottom silt on top of it. I'll zoom in a little bit. It's kind of hard to see. But on the very far left side of the screen there, I'm thinking that's a log or a tree that's laying up flat on the bottom, and it's just got a ton of river bottom silt on top of it because there's not a ton of definition. And this is a stump right on the break. You can see that shadow, how it's connected to that brighter object. So there is a stump there. Not much of a stump, but I'll put a waypoint on her. And there's another stump right below the boat. Now these would show up on your clear view screen. And I think there are some fish on it. Yep, you see the main tree comes up, and then there's a brighter object towards the top of the screen just by that stump. That's a fish, and then there's some fish suspended. So I'm actually going to mark that as a brush pile just to change it up. And then we are almost back to where we started. idling around. So this is where I originally came off plane and we started the video. So I'm going to circle back if I don't see anything here in the next 50 yards. We'll circle back and start fishing some of these spots. See maybe if there's some bigger fish on them. There's a nice one. See that? It's big, but I don't think he's gonna help me. Or she. This is a female, actually. I hammered it too. That's a female. I'm gonna guess pound and a quarter maybe. Turn this guy back on. Zero it out. What's going on here? Clear scale. 1 pound, 5 ounces. I don't know how well you can see that. 1 pound, 5 ounces. So, pound and a quarter. Gonna go in the live well, fry up. There's a nice female. Spitting jigs. There's a light bite, that's for sure. That might be some money. I hope the lens is not too fogged up for everybody. Alright, let's see which. 1 pound. Nope. 1 pound, 8 ounces. Pound and a half. That was a really light bite. I had to keep that jig right in front of its nose for a long time. You can tell the bite's starting to slow down after this rain. That's a bigger fish. That's the kind of crappie you want right here. This might be a money fish. In which case I might have to leave this spot alone. Ooh, it's a nice one. I don't know if that's going to be a 2 pounder though. another nice fish. Let's see what we got here. It's another 1.5 pounds, 1 pound 8 ounces. Not gonna win any money with this. So that's a solid fish. You don't catch too many of those up north in Wisconsin, but Tennessee, they got quite a few of these. Well, that is, oh, we're really whited out. Let's change that, there we go. So that's the Tennessee Big Mama we're after. Belly full of eggs. Let's see if we can get that in picture. That is not full of eggs, but throw her on a scale real quick. And if it's over 2 pounds, that's potentially going to win some money on Saturday. 1 pound 15 ounces. Just shy. Just shy of 2 pounds. Possibly if she has some shad before Saturday, she'll get a little bit bigger and potentially win some money. See you, big girl. Gonna mark that waypoint. Real quick, what I'm throwing here. I don't think I talked about what I was throwing. I got 2 different rods set up, and I'm gonna do a separate video on long rods versus short rods this time of year, but in the past I've used the big long rods, 12, 13, 16 foot rods, but it seems like, I don't know if the fish have learned or they just feel like they're getting really pressured this time of year, but it seems like they get a little spooky. So you got to stay back 20, 30 feet from the boat. So I got 2 casting rods set up. This is the 6.5 foot one piece with a PC Fun Viper X 1000 size reel, 6 pound copolymer line. And then see if we can, come on camera. That is a 1/8 ounce ACC Crappie Sticks jig. That's a Crappie Monster small fry pattern. I'm going with a 1/8 and the 3/16. I can get away with a 1/8 if I'm fishing shallower than 20 feet. These fish are right in about 18 foot of water. This is the 7 foot one piece casting rod, 2000 size PC Fun Viper X reel. And then this is the 3/16. Come on, there we go. 3/16 ounce ACC Crappie Sticks jig. And then that's a Euro Tackle Fat Assassin. Typically I found if I'm fishing a little bit deeper, having a little bit bigger profile bait, this Fat Assassin I think is 2.5 inches, whereas that small fry is only 1.75 inches, or maybe 2. That bigger profile, fishing deeper water, it seems to help trigger a little bit of a bite. But the males are definitely aggressive. I got a couple males in the box already. They're shooting up. If you can find them on stumps, they are super aggressive. The females, you kind of got to cast at them a couple times, but once they see it, they hammer it. So I'm going to see if there's another big one on there, and then I'm going to leave them alone, because this potentially could be a winning spot for $1,500 or $5,000 if I get the big fish of the tournament.